to this exciting edition of the program, Akpala Diaries. We are going to be talking about thought-provoking issues that you find people struggle with on a day-to-day basis. We are in a dispensation where the economy is biting and a lot of people are going through a lot of stress. One of those things that people are not doing properly these days is the fact that if you have an issue, you have to vent it. You don't have to wait till you get too depressed, emotional, and you need to toughen your skin and build capacity to the point where you don't get affected or get depressed or begin to have mental issues and of course die eventually. Okay, so we're going to be talking about a lot of things on this program, Akpala Diaries. And then I'm not alone here today. I have other beautiful young women who will be talking together and interacting together, providing solutions on topical issues that we are going through in Nigeria and of course globally. What affects someone mentally in Nigeria could affect someone person mentally in America or in London or UK. So it's universal, okay? Human beings are humans. It doesn't matter the color of skin and all of that. Humans will always be humans. I have here with me Barrister Julian. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I also have here Cynthia. Cynthia, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Beatrice, and today we'll be talking about domestic violence. All right, to you, what does domestic violence mean to you? What does that word domestic violence represent in your life? Have you ever experienced it? Have you ever seen anybody who is going through domestic abuse? Okay, so we're going to be talking about the nitty-gritty surrounding domestic violence. Okay, so let me start with Julian. Let's hear from you what you think domestic violence is and what domestic violence is not.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this maiden edition of Akpala's Diary. Domestic violence, from my own opinion, what I understand it is, when it's narrowed down to cruel treatment, mistreatment that happens in a domestic environment, like a home, it has to do basically with a husband and wife or people who are cohabiting. So when one spouse treats the other in a manner that is abusive, it's termed as domestic violence. And there are different types of domestic violence. For instance, you have someone hitting you, kicking you, slapping you, doing all manner of stuff, physical attacks or assaults. That is domestic violence. We have it done to people in different dimensions. It can be verbal, it can be emotional, it can be physical, and in so many ways. But for now, I think we should just deal with the domestic aspect of verbal treatments, physical, and the emotional aspect. Thank you.
So I want to repeat this because you are a lawyer, so you have an idea. Does domestic violence only happen to couples? Does it pertain to only couples, or domestic violence can happen to even single people as well?
Well, basically it has to do with couples. And that's why when I said it, in a domestic environment,
so
it's a man.
If in a home front,
yes,
two siblings maybe have some altercation, or maybe you are living in the neighborhood and then your neighbor decides to beat you, that is not domestic violence.
Well,
but it's also assault.
It can be.
Okay.
It can be. It extends to members of the household.
Okay.
A mother can mete out violence to a child. So that is inclusive, actually.
Right.
But what we are looking at, that is the order of the day right now, is basically man and wife.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we're going to be streamlining to domestic violence in relationship. Let's hear from Cynthia. Cynthia, what is your take on domestic violence? And how do you think that people can either escape from it, or do you support this narrative that people should, since we are narrowing it down to relationship, right? It could be marriage, it could be courtship. Do you think that one, it's, because you want to make the relationship work, you should stay there until you die, or you subscribe to you escaping and staying alive to tell the story? So what does domestic violence mean to you?
Thank you very much. To me, domestic violence basically talks about abuse, okay? it's common with partners involved in a relationship, but it also cuts across to anybody, could be your siblings, because, okay, like for instance, while growing up, I had this encounter with my older brother. We were at that point living in the same house. So something happened and we got into a fight. He even gave me a black eye and I took it to school. But that didn't really go down well with me. So in that case, you can term that as domestic violence as well, because we were both, coexisting, yes, in the same space, all of that. So domestic violence for me means that negative energy, that one will try to met out on you in order to gain control, and all of that. But I see anybody involved in such acts as a very weak person, because you don't need to be violent or abusive in order to gain that control, because I believe that respect is being earned. If you need respect from maybe your sibling, your partner, that respect, there's a way you treat the other partner for you to gain that respect you expect from them.
All right.
And then at no point will I ever subscribe to you staying in an abusive relationship to die. I will recommend any day, anytime, for you to run as fast as you can. As fast as your legs can carry, because it is only when you are alive that you live to tell the story.
All right.
So at any point in time, you find out that, okay, the place is becoming too toxic for you. I can no longer continue in this relationship, in this partnership. The best thing for you to do is to run for your life.
If you're just joining us, the program remains Akpala Diaries, and we are talking about domestic violence. Domestic violence is an issue that is, it's becoming a topical issue because everyone should be concerned. I've seen people set themselves ablaze in this country in December 2023. I've seen people die because of mental depression. I've seen people's blood pressure shot up. And of course, recently I heard one of the musicians in the Nigerian music industry, a young boy of 27, who died of, emotional breakdown. He had emotional issues, was admitted in the hospital, and eventually he learned of his death. Who knows what his mental health was and what he had to deal with? But I want to find out from you people. We're in a society where people would rather expect you. They see you are facing issues, you are facing challenges, nobody will lift their finger to do anything. When you die, they start lamenting on social media. What do you think has become of our country, Nigeria? Let me start with you as a lawyer. Looking at it from that perspective, don't you think that, for instance, like the young musician that just died, Mohbad, right? Yeah. Mohbad died, but before Mohbad died, he did interviews. Mohbad was very vocal about his mental health. He was vocal. Even the day he was admitted in the hospital, he said it. He said, I've just been admitted in the hospital, but I'll be back to tell my own side of the story. All right? He came out of that situation. And then, of course, I don't know if anybody intervened. Why do we always wait for people to die before people start lamenting? And then you now see people start contributing for people's burial. Why can't people go out of their way to lend a hand to help somebody who is facing mental depression? What do you think is happening to our society?
The situation right now in Nigeria is quite pathetic. Sometimes I wonder where the humanity in us, what has happened to it. You see that you're just on your own, basically. When you look at what is going on, you just know that you just have to take care of yourself first and foremost. Show yourself that self-love, exercise that care that you can. Don't ever try to be careless, because if the worst happens, you're just on your own. Only God can intervene for you. Now, when I see things like that, just like the scenario, the case you just mentioned, nobody cares actually. And so we try to preserve our mental health by not giving into emotions, too much emotions. Like my colleague here said earlier, she said, run for your life. I am of the opinion that when things happen and you have no control over, the best thing is to retreat. Don't put yourself into a kind of situation that will result to a breakdown or a crack in your emotions that will affect you. If you find yourself in a toxic place or a place that is giving you stress, just advise yourself and take some time off that area until you've been able to work on it. If you know God, hold your God very strong at this point, and then help yourself. Be strong. This life right now is not for the weak, I must say. It's for strong minds. Build capacity and also try to avoid places that you know are going to be injurious to you. In that context, I can use that word, or that will mate out some sort of negative energy that you cannot handle. Try to stay away from it. But above all, God is in control. I advise anybody who is listening to me right now to hold God very close, because God seems to be the only way out right now. That is what I do personally. What else do I have to say than to say that with God we can maneuver out of the situation that is at hand right now. Aside that, I don't know. You're just on your own, actually.
All right, so before we hear from Cynthia, the program is Akpala Diaries, and of course we are talking about real life situation, real life experiences, things you experience on a daily basis. And then today we are talking about domestic violence, which is very, 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 in fact, it's real. Domestic violence is experienced on the street, in homes, every corner you turn. People are having mental issues here and there. It is very, very unfortunate that we are in a society where nobody cares. Like Barrister Julian has said it, and of course I've had a lot of experiences that if I begin to talk, we will not leave here today. People don't just care. You are your rescue. But I want to find out from Cynthia, because she made a statement, Barrister Julian made a statement that for you to survive the current society we find ourselves, you have to build capacity, toughen up, have a thick skin. Then I want to know from Cynthia, how do you overcome all these challenges we are faced with? They are prevalent, they are everywhere you turn. Any room you walk into, there's one person with one negative energy. Because somebody cannot speak English, if you speak English is a problem. Or because you wore a hair that somebody has not worn, if you show up it's a problem. How do you toughen your spirit and build capacity to that point where you don't allow people run you down mentally? So how have you been able to do that? How have you succeeded in doing that?
Well, thank you very much. In order to build capacity, I think the first thing to do is to discover yourself. Know who you really are, because self-discovery will help you in a way that no matter what happens around you, once you've discovered yourself, you'll be able to, it doesn't really matter what they are saying about me. I know who I truly am, and then it will not really get to your emotions. You'll be in control of your emotions. And then once that happens, you'll be able to overcome whatever negative energies or however they are trying to make you really feel. Or maybe, for instance, someone is trying to belittle you or try to, make you feel like what you're not. When you're in control of yourself and your emotions, you'll be able to know that, okay, what they are saying is not really what I am. I am more than that, and all of that. So besides that, with that being said, how to overcome depression, how to overcome mental health issues, I think one key way to do that is through therapy. If you know you're having issues with your mental health, a lot of people go about with undiagnosed mental health issues. And then when that happens, you see that's the major cause of domestic violence in different places. And then some people, alcoholism is a major cause of domestic violence as well. When you consume excessive alcohol and then drug use also, it will make you, whoever you come in contact with, you won't be in control of yourself at that moment. You try to be abusing everyone, but if you submit yourself to maybe a hospital, to treatment for therapy, when you do that, it will help you with time gradually to overcome that domestic violence. Right. And then the abusiveness, those abusive tendencies that you see to display. So when you do that, it will go a long way to help.
All right, so it's been exciting having Barrister Julia and having Cynthia in the studio, and the topic has been domestic violence on the maiden edition of the program today, Akpala Diaries. On this program, like I said before, we'll be talking about real life situation, practical experiences. We want to share ideas, we want to share our thoughts with people. Whatsoever you are going through, please comment it on this video. All right, come to this video, put whatever you want us to talk about, even if you want to suggest a topic for us to address. And then, of course, we'll be tackling it on our own. If there is need for us to bring maybe a psychologist or something to the program to also be a part of the process, we'll do that eventually. But for the meantime, just comment on this video, suggest what you want us to talk about next. Tell us your experience. Have you been depressed before? Have you been hospitalized before? Have you been badly treated to the point where you felt like committing suicide? There is no need to die, okay? I don't think that there should be any situation that should make somebody feel suicidal, because when you put your hope in God, eventually everything will be sorted. So let's hear from Barrister Julia. What is your last message to the people as we wrap up this process?
Thank you very much. Right now, I want to say to the women, because they are the most hit of this very issue. It's a global issue, it's affecting every corner of the world. And according to the record of WHO, they estimate that 1 of 3 women at some point in their lives go through domestic violence. And recently we heard about a couple in the US that the man shot his wife of over 18 years dead. You know, these things are happening, and most of our women tend to be quiet about it. They are ashamed of what the society, what people out there would say. And because of that, they tend to condone it against their own health. You know, some of them stay there and deteriorate and die in the process. What I'm trying to say is that try to vocalize it. Okay. There are institutions that are set in place, established by the law, to help out in situations like that. Okay. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't endanger yourself. There's a saying that goes by this: live and live to tell the story. Don't stay put in a toxic relationship and die in the process. Watch me next time and you get more from me.
All right, thank you very much. Let's hear from Cynthia.
All right, for me, like my colleague had rightly said, you don't need to cover it. Learn to speak out. If you find yourself in any domestic violence, in any toxic place, learn to speak out, learn to be proactive, run for your life. Like I already said before, you don't need to stay there, you don't need to die in that relationship. Nothing in life is worth dying for. I'll see you some other time.
All right, so like I said, this is going to be as real as it gets. And of course, it's Akpala's Diaries. We'll be telling you our own personal experiences next week. I've been through a lot in my media career, all right? I'm a media person, I'm an on-air presenter. I've gone through a lot. Now, but there's something I want to tell you. Any room you walk into and there's somebody there that makes you feel less, please walk out. Anywhere you go, if you don't feel comfortable, don't associate with people that will make you feel less than what you ought to be. Associate with people that will value you, people that will add value to your life, and people that will help you to be the best version of yourself. And if you're in a relationship and somebody is beating you and they're beating you, what are you waiting for? Develop sense and run for your life. That is my own opinion. That's my personal opinion. We're going to be sharing our personal experiences in the second edition of this program. Every single week, we'll be releasing a new video. Every week, we'll be releasing a new video on all sorts of topics. You can suggest to us what you want us to talk about. And we are going to be real. We're going to be very open. If you want to be invited, just indicate on this video. My name on social media is Akpala Diaries, and then she is Akpala Juliana, that is Akpala Cynthia. You'll be seeing this production on these 3 platforms, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook. Please watch out for us. And of course, get to hear from us on a weekly basis on this program, Akpala Diaries. We want to share our thoughts. We could have been quiet like everybody is keeping quiet. We want to talk about, we want to do something, we want to add value to humanity. I think that's what life has to be. But I want to see more saviors out there. All right, because we know that you are your own rescue. But if people can come out to rescue other people from themselves, or come out to help people overcome their mental issues, that would be a process to having a society that every one person can live their best life. Okay, so being your best version, being the best version of yourself is part of you helping other people to achieve their dreams. And right now, what is important with the current economy and what is going on in Nigeria today is for you to maintain your mental balance. Maintain your mental balance. Make sure your mental health is being taken into consideration and be the best version of yourself. My name is Mrs. Akpala. I'll see you next week on another edition of the program, Akpala Diaries. Please don't forget, always watch out for us. Subscribe to be a part of this thought-provoking program. And then please and please stay alive. Always stay alive to tell the story. That is our own mantra on this program. Stay alive to tell the story. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
We not go far, we a go, we go, you go. Yeah. One day. Oxygen mix.